It's nothing. Complicated. No, it is something, just... He cursed under his breath. Ah, hell. I need to take a few minutes. He sat behind his 300-year-old antique oak desk, a gift to his father from the king of a country that didn't even exist anymore, and leaned back in the chair. Closing his eyes, he pinched the bridge of his nose and took a deep breath. And the day had started out so good. The sarcastic thought was a laugh. On the way in, he missed the new speed zone change on Callahan, and now he'd have to pay a fine for going 15 over. More frustrating was that the officer hadn't wanted to give it to him, had argued with him once he saw who he was. Stephen had always been a big supporter and donor to the Fort Worth Police Department, but that shouldn't excuse him from wrongdoing. That was always the way, though, and probably the thing Stephen hated most about his notoriety. Anyone else, and the officer would have gladly handed over the fine. Yet he tried to back out once he saw it was Stephen. What kind of world was it if millionaires got out of tickets because they had money, while someone poor and unrecognizable would have to pay 2 days' salary for the same offense? He sat up and looked at Gail. Did she give any reason why she's here? Gail now sat across from him with one pant-clad leg crossed over the other. She sat up, straight-backed, one hand placed squarely on her knee, the other tapping somewhat restlessly on the arm of the chair. Honestly, Stephen, I have no idea. She called to make an appointment, and when I asked her what it was concerning, she said it was regarding Magnolia Bransford Academy. I looked at your calendar and saw you'd be free, so I penciled her in. Stephen served on the board for Magnolia Bransford. They were the highest-rated school for autistic children in the nation. He remembered the exact conversation and what he'd promised to do for her. God, of all the days for her to come. Look, I've already put in a call about that ticket, so you won't have to worry about that. No, it's not that. He wished. No, the truth of the matter was that seeing Cassie Eden sitting in his reception area with her tight green skirt and low-cut white blouse turned him on more than any other woman he'd ever met. He should be furious as hell. Yet in that moment he only felt grateful for the desk separating him from Gail, and for the fact he was seated and well hidden. Just not a good day for her is all, he replied, desperately trying to quell the desire he felt at just seeing her again. I could reschedule, Gail offered. No, that would only delay the inevitable. Gail stood and straightened the crease on her pants. As her hand reached for the door, she turned. You could cancel, you know. I'm certain whatever her reason for being here is, she can reschedule. It couldn't. He didn't know her anything, yet he couldn't forget the promise he'd made her. So he wouldn't reschedule. He wouldn't cancel. Please tell my wife I'll see her in a few minutes. Gail's hand stilled at the door as he spoke. She looked visibly shocked by his words. Yet, always the professional, she pushed through and shut it quietly behind her. Cassie felt the oxygen slowly being sucked from the room and the walls closing in around her. It had only been a month since she'd last seen Stephen, yet a lifetime had passed. Every aching day, every sleepless night, she aged at least 10 years. And he was entirely to blame. As she waited outside his office door, she could only imagine the scenario he'd cooked up inside. He was always a charmer, always good at getting what he wanted, and he'd wanted her. Only, he'd also wanted to keep her secret, so really, how could he blame her for not wanting to be with him? Still, she knew he did, and that he held her future in his hands. She despised him for what he'd done to her. If she didn't need him so desperately now, she'd have stayed away for good. If only every other option hadn't already been exhausted.